Hi, I'm RL from A-Cube Piano Studio. In this video, we'll be going through the Grade 3 ABRSM Music Theory Practice paper. Alright, so let's take a look. The first section is on rhythm. Let's start off with the first question. Select the correct time signature for the bar. So let's count the number of beats there are. So if you have to look at this is 6, 8, 9, 8, and then this is 4, 4 time. So I would count it in terms of the number of quaver beats because most of the options are in terms of quaver beats. Okay, but no issues even if you count it in terms of crotchet beats. Okay, so alright, maybe let's start off by counting it in terms of quaver beats. So a crotchet is equals to 2 quavers. This is equals to another quaver, because 2 semiquavers equals to 1 quaver beat. Alright, then we also have this one here. So I have a dotted semiquaver plus a demi semiquaver, and it will be equals to 2 semiquaver because this dotted semiquaver is equals to a semiquaver plus a demi semiquaver. Add another demi semiquaver. These 2 demi semiquavers will add up to be equals to a semiquaver. So 2 semiquavers is equals to a quaver. So this 2 notes is equals to a quaver, followed by another quaver here, and finally this quaver here. So total there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 quaver beats in a bar, so it is 6, 8 time. Okay, if you are to count it in terms of crotchet beats, we can also do it this way. So this is the first crotchet beat. Okay, then if you to look at this 2 add up to be equals to a quaver. This 2 add up to be equals to a quaver, and a quaver here, right? So total you have 3 crotchet beats. But by looking at how the notes are grouped, we know that it is not going to be 4, 4 time. Okay, reason is because if it's 4, 4 time, these 4 notes here, which form the second beat of the 4, 4 time, should be grouped together. Okay, so this one cannot be 3, 4 time. Okay, it must be 6, 8 time because of the grouping. Okay, because if it's 3, 4 time, then these 4 notes should be grouped together. Then this quaver will be by itself. Okay, so the answer for this is 6, 8 time. Moving on to the next one, select the correct time signature for the bar. So you have 3 crotchets with a triplet sign. So whenever you have a triplet, think of 3 becomes 2. So the time value of this group of 3 crotchets with a triplet sign is equals to the time value of 2 crotchets. Quaver plus dotted crotchet is equals to a minimum, which is equals to 2 crotchets. So this is one of the group of notes where you should remember the time value. Okay, so whenever you have a dotted crotchet together with a quaver, it adds up to a minimum. So total there are 4 minimum beats per bar. 4 crotchet beats per bar, or 2 minimum beats per bar. Okay, so there is no 4, 4 time, but there is a 2, 2 time. Okay, so it is this one here. So this one is the same as 2, 2 time. Moving on, select the correct time signature for the bar. So one look at this, right, I know it's definitely not 2, 4. Okay, because for 2, 4, if you have notes that are have a shorter time value of a semiquaver or lesser, then you should group the notes beat by beat. But the fact that everything is grouped together suggests that it's very likely to be 3, 8 time. Because for 3, 8 time, if you have odd notes that has a tail, like your quaver, semiquaver, dotted semiquaver, demi semiquaver, and so on, okay, you'll just group them all together. Okay, and this seems like it, right? If it's 6, 8 time, the first 3 quaver beats will be grouped together, followed by the next 3 quaver beats. But because everything is grouped together here, so very likely it's 3, 8. But before we submit our answers, let's check. Okay, if it's 3/8 time, then I will count everything in terms of quaver beats. Right? So this here, a dotted quaver is equals to a quaver plus a semiquaver. This one, 3 demi-semiquavers with a triplet sign means, triplet means 3 becomes 2, right? The time value is equals to 2 demi-semiquavers. 2 demi-semiquavers has a time value equals to a quaver. So these 3 notes add up. This triplet has a time value equals to that of a semiquaver. Okay, then these 2 semiquavers equals to 1 quaver. So 1 quaver here, then here 2 quavers here, 3 quaver beats here. So it is 3/8 time. Alright, next. Drag and drop the missing bar line to make a 2-bar melody. So we need to drag and drop a bar line. So if you look at this, right, it's quite easy. It is either here, 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 or here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So this one is the 1 beat. This is the 2nd beat. Okay, this is the 3rd beat, and this is the 4th crochet beat, right? But because it's 2/4 time, that means 2 crochet beats per bar, so the bar line should be here. So this one, let's talk more about this one here. So you have this is a quaver, then this is a dotted semiquaver plus a demi-semiquaver. So a dotted quaver is equals, a dotted semiquaver is equals to a semiquaver plus a demi-semiquaver. Add another demi-semiquaver, 2 demi-semiquaver equals to a semiquavers. Okay, so these 2 add up to be a semiquaver plus a semiquaver equals to a quaver. So these 2 add up to be equals to a quaver. Quaver plus quaver equals to crochet. So this is the 1st crochet beat. This is the 2nd crochet beat. Okay, so this is 2/4 time, right? So in 2/4 time, you have 2 crochet beats per bar. So I'll put the bar line here. Then from here on, this is another quaver beat. Then when you have a triplet, the time value of the triplet is equals to the time value of 2 of the notes, right? So this triplet's time value is equals to the time value of 2 semiquavers. 2 semiquavers equals to another quaver. Finally, quaver plus quaver, which is crochet. So 2 quavers make a crochet, so 2 crochet beats. Okay, you can also look at it as, okay, so before even you put the bar line, right, sometimes you can guess already. So for 2/4 time, we try to avoid ties whenever possible within the same bar, right? This is the same note. If there's a tie, that means probably it is the same, it is going to the next bar. That's why you use a tie note. But before you put the bar line here, first check. Okay? And yes, it is. The bar line should be here. Let's move on. So this is 6/8 time. Where should I put the bar line? So wherever you have a dotted crochet, it is equals to 3 quaver beats, right? And how many quaver beats do we need in a bar? Well, it is 6/8 times, so it's 6 quaver beats in a bar. So it's 3 quaver beats, and this is also another 3 quaver beats. Okay, so when you have a dotted quaver plus a semiquaver, it adds up to be equals to a crochet. A crochet plus another quaver here will give a dotted crochet. So a dotted crochet is equals to 3 quaver beats. So 3 quaver beats plus 3 quaver beats is 6 quaver beats already. So each bar, 6/8 times, each bar has 6 quaver beats in a bar. So I can put the bar line here already. Remember when you put, right, make sure that it is aligned properly, okay? You cannot put it this way. It has to be here, such that the top of this line touches the top of the staff, and the bottom of this line touches the bottom of the staff. Okay, then before we go on to the next question, let's check. So 1 crochet is equals to 2 quaver beats. Then this is another quaver beat, so 3 quaver beats already. 2 semiquaver makes up a quaver. Then these are another quaver. So total there are 6 quaver beats in the 2nd bar. So yes, correct. This is where the bar line should be. Okay, next one, let's do this. You have 3 2 time. That means there are 3 minimum beats in a bar. Okay, and we need to put the bar line. So if you look at this, quaver plus quaver is a crochet. Crochet plus crochet gives a minimum. So this is the 1st minimum beat. This is the 2nd minimum beat. Next, two quavers make a crotchet plus another crotchet makes a minim. So this is the third quaver beat. So sorry, this is the third minim beat. So in 3/2 times there are 3 minim beats in a bar. So I should be putting the bar line here, right after this note here. Okay. Now, let me check the next few notes. Make sure that there is also 3 minim beats after this bar line here. So a dotted crotchet plus a quaver is equals to a minim. You'll notice that this is very, very common. So remember that this plus this is equals to a minim beat. Dotted quaver plus a semi-quaver is equals to a crotchet beat. Okay, this type comes out very often, so make sure you remember these note combinations. Okay, so I also talk about all these note combinations that are very common in the exam in my course. Link in description below if you are interested. Coming back to this question here, you have 4 quavers. 4 quavers is equals to a minim because 2 quavers make a crotchet. So 4 quavers will make 2 crotchets, and 2 crotchets is equals to a minim. Now I have 2 crotchets here, a minim. So yes, after this bar line here, there is also 3 minim beats in a bar. So therefore, this is where the bar line is to achieve the time signature of 3/2 time. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Okay, another bar line. So now it's 4/4 time, right? So 4/4 time, what is 4/4 time? Well, 4/4 time means there are 4 beats in a bar, and because the bottom number here is 4, that means there are 4 crotchet beats in a bar. So let's count it in terms of number of crotchet beats. This is the first crotchet beat. This is a quaver plus 2 semi-quavers. 2 semi-quavers makes up a quaver. 2 quavers make up a crotchet. So this is a crotchet beat again. So this is my first crotchet beat. This is my second crotchet beat. 2 quavers make a crotchet, third crotchet beat here. This is my fourth crotchet beat. So I know that my bar line should be after this rest here. So let me put it here. Okay, next I need to check that there are also 4 crotchet beats after this bar line, because all bars should have 4 crotchet beats in a bar if the time signature is 4/4 time. So let's do it. So next, let's look at this. This is 2 semi-quavers make a quaver. Then I have a crotchet here. Then next, I have a triplet, okay, with above 3 semi-quavers. So triplet is like 3 becomes 2. So the time value of this is equals to that of 2 semi-quavers, and 2 semi-quavers is equals to a quaver. So you have quaver, crotchet, quaver. So let's add up these 2 quavers. 2 quavers will give you a crotchet. This crotchet plus this crotchet gives you 2 crotchets. So from here to here, you already have 2 crotchet beats. 1 minim is also 2 crotchet beats. So total there are 4 crotchet beats in the second bar. So therefore, yes, this is where the bar line should be so that you have 4/4 time. Okay, next 3/4 time. So now let's look. 3/4 time means there are 3 crotchet beats in a bar, right? So let's count in terms of crotchet beats. Okay, so we know that this, wherever we have this, we need a quaver to make up a minim, right? And a minim is equals to 2 crotchet beats. So we do not have a quaver here. Instead, we have 2 semi-quavers, and 2 semi-quavers is equals to 1 quaver. Okay, so this is equals to 2 crotchet beats. Then this one is the third crotchet beat. So now I have 3 crotchet beats in a bar already. I'll put my bar line after this. Okay, then I have this one here, this group of notes. So this group of notes, right, is a semi-quaver plus a quaver plus a semi-quaver. So 2 semi-quavers makes up a quaver. A quaver plus another quaver is 2 quavers. 2 quavers make up a crotchet. So this is another crotchet beat. 4 semi-quavers make up a crotchet beat. So this is another crotchet beat. This is another crotchet beat. So the next bar also has 3 crotchet beats in a bar. So yes, we are correct. This is where the bar line should be. Okay, moving on to the next question. A dotted quaver is equals to how many demi-semi-quavers? So this is a dotted quaver, right? This is how it looks like. So a dotted quaver is equals to a quaver plus a semi-quaver. Okay? And we know that a semi-quaver is equals to 2 demi-semi-quavers, right? So a semiquaver is equals to 2 demi-semiquavers. So a quaver will be equals to 4 demi-semiquaver, because this quaver here is equals to 2 quavers, and if each quaver is, if one quaver is equals to 2 semiquavers, and if each semiquaver is equals to 2 demi-semiquaver, then two semiquaver will be 4 demi-semiquavers, right? So this is 4. Okay, so 4 plus 2 will give 6. So the answer here is 6. Next, select the correct description of this time signature. So this is a triple time, right? So anything that says duple is out, and it is simple triple. So anything that starts with 3, 2, 3, and 4 on top is simple. Okay, so the answer is simple triple time. Alright. Next, select which of these bars are grouped correctly. So this is 3/4 time. So 3/4 time. What is 3/4 time? 3/4 time is simply 3 crochet beads per bar, right? So if you have 3 crochet beads per bar, what does it mean? You should group 1 crochet bead by 1 crochet bead. So we know that this is a dotted quaver. So it is equals to a quaver plus a semiquaver. 2 demi-semiquaver is equals to a semiquaver. So 2 semiquavers makes up a quaver. So this is 1 crochet bead. Okay, if you have to look at this, we know that 1 dotted quaver plus 2 demi-semiquavers is equals to 1 crochet bead. So the rest are all wrong already, because you should group the notes in 3/4 time bead by bead. So these 3 should be grouped together. Okay, then we also know 2 demi-semiquavers plus a dotted quaver is equals to the next crochet bead. They should be grouped together. So this is out, they should be grouped together. This is also wrong, they should be grouped together. This is correct, they are grouped together. This is the second bead. Then the third bead consists of 2 quavers. They should be grouped together to form the third bead, because 2 quavers form 1 crochet bead. So the one that is grouped correctly is the first one, this one here. Alright, let's take a look at this question here. So in this question, you are asked to show whether each group of rest is correct or incorrect. So if you don't recall, where for rest, we always try to group them bead by bead. Right? Okay? Unless the whole bead is, unless the whole bar is at rest, like this here. Okay? So let's take a look at this one here. So for 9/8 time, okay, there are 9 quaver beads in a bar. So we will count it in terms of quaver beads. So this is equals to 3 quaver beads, right? So if 1 quaver, then this 2 add up to be 2 quavers, total 3 quavers. This one is another 2 quavers. Then my third, so this is 3 quaver beads already. Then there's 2 quaver beads. Then here you notice, so 1, 2, 3 is here. Then next 4, 5, and bead 6, 7, 8, 9 are grouped together. This is incorrect, because whenever you have 9/8 time, right? So for rest, we usually group bead by bead. But for this one, another thing to note is, if I also group 9/8, 3 beads by 3 beads for the notes, right? Now, my rest, which is represented by this rest here, that's given here, goes from bead 6 to 7, 8, 9. So this is definitely wrong, because for compound time like 9/8, we group them 3 by 3. So you cannot put the bead 6 with bead 7, 8, 9. You should split it into this and this. Alright, so this is incorrect. This one you can, so I say that for rest, right, we usually group them bead by bead. But if all 3 of them in the same group are rest, you can just use a single rest. Alright. So, but because of that, because you group beat 6 with group 7, 8, 9, it is incorrect. So this is wrong. This rest is wrong. Moving on to the next one here. This is the first 3 beats or first 3 quaver beats. Okay. Then we also have the next 3 quaver beats. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6. Okay. This 2 add up to be equals to 2 quavers. So it's your 4, 5, and then 6. Then this is my 7th beat. And then my 8 and 9 beat are rest. Because the 7th beat is not a rest, so therefore you cannot group all the 3 together. Or you cannot group the rest in beat 8 and 9 together. Instead, you need to group them beat by beat. So this should be the answer. So this is incorrect. Finally, for Z, Z is correct. It is a full bar rest, and a full bar rest is represented by this rest symbol. It doesn't matter what is the time signature. As long as it's a full bar rest, this is the rest you use, because this is also a full bar rest. Okay. Okay, now let's move on. Look at the music. Identify which of the following shows the bar above correctly written in notes of twice the value. Okay, so we need to write notes twice its value, right? So first thing you need to do, you need to change the time signature. But for this example here, all the time signature are the same, so straight away you don't need to check the time signature. It will be 4 to time. But if you have some options having a different time signature, how do you rewrite the melody or rewrite the bar, okay, with the notes in twice the value? So basically this one stay the same, the top number stays the same, so you just copy it. Then the bottom number you divide by 2. When you divide the bottom number by 2, now instead of having each beat being a crotchet beat, you get each beat being a minimum beat, so it becomes twice its value. Okay, then we want to double the value. If you have a quaver, it will become a crotchet. If you have a dotted quaver, it becomes a dotted crotchet. If you have a crotchet, it becomes a minimum. If you have a semi-quaver, it becomes a quaver, and so on. If you have a demi-semi-quaver, it becomes a semi-quaver. So if you have tail, you decrease your number of tail by 1. If you want to the notes to be twice the value. So from 3 tail, which is your demi-semi-quaver with 3 tails, 1, 2, 3, it becomes the semi-quaver with just 2 tails. 2 tails, which is your semi-quaver, become 1 tail. Okay, 1 tail becomes no tail. Okay, then crotchet becomes minimum become semi-brief. Okay, so here let's take a look. So all of them are 4 to time, so don't need to check. Okay, but if they are different, remember this formula. The top number stays the same. If you want to if the notes to be twice the value, then the bottom number need to divide by 2 for the time signature. Now, let's move on to the notes. These are 3 quavers with a triplet sign. So quaver becomes what? Crotchet, right? Quaver becomes crotchet. So all these quavers, 3 quavers become crotchet, triplet sign remains. Crotchet, so these 3 are all correct for the first one. Crotchet become minimum, all of them have crotchet becomes minimum. Dotted quaver becomes dotted crotchet. Semi-quaver becomes quaver. Demi-semi-quaver, so demi-semi-quaver becomes semi-quavers. Dotted quaver becomes dotted crotchet. So this is the correct one. Okay, because this is not a dotted crotchet, this is a dotted quaver. It's still the same. You did not this note is not twice the value of this note. Okay, so because of this last note here, this is wrong. So the only correct answer is the first one. Okay, now let's move on to pitch. Select the name of this note. Okay, so this is C. Okay, usually, typically I ask my students to memorize reference notes. Okay, so this is the middle C. I call middle C C4. This is the C that is 1 octave higher than middle C, which is C5. And this is C6, which is the C that is one octave higher than C5 or 2 octaves higher than C4. So this is C6. So therefore, the name of this note is C. Okay? If there are other notes, you just count from one of these notes here. Okay, next, this one. What is this note here? So by now you should be very familiar. So whenever you have a key signature, make sure you check this is B flat. So if any B must have a flat. Okay, but this note is not B, this is G. So by now you should be very familiar with the notes on the music staff. But if not, if you remember these three reference notes, then this is C, this is D, E, F, G. So this is G. Okay, now we are going to have bass clef. So let me erase this. So for bass clef, similarly, okay, this note is very close to middle C. Okay, so I'll use this middle C on the bass clef as a reference to see what note this is. But before you do that, make sure you check out the key signature. There is F sharp and C sharp. So if there's F or C, the answer will be F sharp or C sharp instead. Okay, so this is middle C. Let me erase this. Okay, this is middle C, right? This is C, then this is D, then this is E, and finally this is F. Okay, but because of the key signature, all F must have a sharp, so the note is F sharp. Next, let's take a look at this one here. So what is this note? Well, again, it is closest to this middle C here. Okay, then you can count all the way to here. So it's C, D, E, F, G. Okay, and because there's a sharp here, it is G sharp. Okay, another way to do it is, remember, whenever you're a third apart, you are stacked on top of each other, right? So if this is C, okay, let me write it here first. This is middle C, let's assume. Then I stack on top of it. That means it's a third away from it. That means you skip one note, it becomes E. Another stack above it is you skip another note, it becomes G. So this is G. So you can also count it this way. Why I like to teach my students this method as well is because, like, for example, if you have something like this. So this is G. This is, you skip one note, right? When you're stacked on top of each other, you skip one note. So G, A, then B. So this is B. Then you stack on top again, you skip one note. So you are going to skip C, and this will be D. Then you stack on top again. Then this is E, then this is F. So in this way, right, we will be able to tell intervals of 3 very easily. Okay, so this is another way of looking at it. So this is actually G sharp. Okay, next, this one here. So for this note here, it's very close to this C. So again, I usually make my students memorize reference notes. So this is C4, middle C. This is C3, the C that's one octave lower than C4, and this one is C2. And you notice this note is very close to C2. So after this C, it is this. So this note here is actually D, and it has a sharp, so it's D sharp. So it is this one here, D sharp. Next, what is this note? Again, let's use middle C as a reference. So this is C. So if you like this, the stack method that I tell you, now we are going lower, right? So now that we are going lower, so if this is middle C, if you stack below it, you skip one note, this note here is A, right? Then you go below again, you skip one note, this is F. So this note here is F. Next, select true or false for each of the 3 statements. So this one has something to do with pitch. So again, what we do is we take a look at what is the first note, right? First note, right? Okay, and then we reference them with C. So this is middle C, which I call C4. This is C5. So the first note is in between C4 and C5. So option A is here. The first note is in between C4 and C5. Then next, this is my middle C, right? this note is just slightly higher than the middle C. It's the D above middle C, right? Which is the same as this. So this is C4. So this note is going to be, so option B, the first note of option B is in between C4 and C5. Let's take a look at option C. So this is middle C, which is C4. This is the C3, and this D here is in between C3 and C4. So this is option C. So if you have to look at this, one look at this, you know that from our working, A and B are of the same pitch. So the first one is true. B is one octave higher than C. It is true because this is one octave higher. C is one octave lower than A, which is also true. C is one octave lower than A. So all of them are true. Okay, next, select the correct clef to make this B flat. Okay, so it is basically bass clef, right? But if we want to count notes, we often use reference notes, right? So this is C, this is C, this is C, right? This is C4, this is C5, this is C6. Then for bass clef, this is the C2, this is C3, and this is C4. C4 is middle C. So if you look at this, okay, if this is treble clef, middle C is here. This is C, B, A, G. This is G flat for treble clef. It's not B flat. So it cannot be treble clef. Okay, if you have to use this one here, then you'll notice that, okay, this is C. Okay, if it's bass clef, then this here is C. Going down by one step will give you B. With a flat is B flat. So therefore it's bass clef. Okay, let me erase this portion here. Okay, so now we want to have D, right? Okay, so let's use this. So if I have treble clef, then I'll use C, this C here as a reference because this is closest to this note here. So this note is higher than this. So this is C, this will be D. So treble clef will give me D. So this is correct. If it's bass clef, okay, I'll use middle C, okay. Then this will be, if it's bass clef, then this is middle C, this is D, this is E, and this is F. So this will be F. So therefore, to make this note D, it should be treble clef. Okay. Okay, now I want C sharp, right? So in order to be C sharp, it must definitely be bass clef because this is middle C. Right, this one is not middle C, is A in treble clef. So this is the correct answer. Next, I want to make this note E. So one note that, look at this, if this is a treble clef, this will be middle C, so it will not be E. So the answer is bass clef. So for bass clef, if we use these three as reference notes, if this is bass clef and this is C, then this will be D and this will be E. So bass clef will give E note, okay? Next, look at this bar of music. Identify which of the following shows the bar above correctly written one octave lower. So I want to write it one octave lower, right? Okay, so, okay, let's take a look at this. So how we usually do, we reference it to this C again. This C4, this is C5, this is C6, right? For bass clef, this is middle C, which is the C4, and this is going to be C3, and this is C2. All right. So now if I look at this one, this is C5. To make it one octave lower, it should be C4. That means middle C. So this is middle C. This is middle C. This is C3, which is 2 octave lower than C5. So this is out already. So I only left with this 2 to check. Okay, so now this is C, B, A, G. So you just need to go down to the next G that you see. C, B, A, G. So this is correct. C, B, A, G. This is correct. Okay, next, this one is C, D, E. So you go up. Okay, it's a third compared to this note here. So remember, a third, you can also just stack it up. So if this is here, this one will be here. If this is here, a third, this one should be here. So this is wrong. So this is out already. Then you go on to here. So this one is from C to G. So if you look at it, it is the second stack, right? I stack up, then I stack again, then I go to do this note. I stack up, which is here. I stack again, then it's this note here. But this one is not. This is, there's a line passing through this note, but there's no line passing through this note. So this is out already. Okay, then this one. Okay, then the last one, if you look at this, these two notes are the same. These two notes are not the same. Okay, in fact, this note is higher than this note here. Okay, so this goes from C to D. So this goes from C to D. So this one is correct. So the one that is 1 octave lower, it's this one here. So what you do is just use the first notes. Okay, make sure that it is determine where the first note should be. Then just reference everything to the first note in each option. Okay, next, look at this bar of music. Identify which of the following shows the bar correctly written an octave higher. Okay, so again, we'll make use of this. This is the low C, which is our C2. This is C3, and this one is C4, middle C. Okay, so if I want to be 1 octave higher, so this one, this note here is in between C2 and C3. So to be 1 octave higher, the note should be in between C3 and C4. Okay, so this is C4, right? The notes here are all higher than middle C. So this is out already because this is more than an octave higher. So let me repeat what I said, C3, C4. The first note here is in between C3 and C4. So in order, sorry, it's in between C2 and C3. This is C2, this is C3. The first note of this bar here is in between C2 and C3. So if you want to rewrite it 1 octave higher, the note should be in between first note for 1 octave higher. The note should be in between C3 and C4, right? C3 and C4, right? If you look at this, this is middle C, this is C4, this is C5. The first note is already in between C4 and C5, but we want the first note to be in between C3 and C4. So this is out. Okay, then let's take a look at this. This is middle, this is C3, this is C4. Yes, the first note is in between C3 and C4. Let's check this. This is middle C. Okay, then I didn't ask my students to remember where is C3 on the treble clef, but we can count. So you know that this is C, this is B, A, G, F. This is F note. Okay, and it didn't cross to the next C. Okay, so we know that this note here is in between C3 and C4 because this is middle C, right? And it didn't go to the next C. Okay, C, B, A, G, F. This is F. So we know that, okay, this one seems to be in between C3 and C4. So we can continue looking at these two. So let's take a look at this. What is this note here? So this is the F, right? That is in between C2 and C3. So I need to make it, write it 1 octave higher. So I need the F that is in between C3 and C4. So where's the F in between C3 and C4? It is here. Where's the F in between C3 and C4? It is here. So the first note for both of them are correct. Okay, so once you have done that, once you have found out, okay, the first note is correct, let's continue. So once the first note is out, you eliminate that option. Then we are left with this two. So now let's take a look at here. So this one, you can just compare steps. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I usually compare it with the first note here. So this is like you look at it, I stack here, then move up one note. So I stack here, stack here, stack here, then I move up one note. So it should be here, not here. This is wrong. So this one I stack, then I stack, then I stack, then I move up one is correct. And in fact, if you look at this, this is the note D that is in between C3 and C4. So I should move it up. So I should make it one octave higher. So it should be the D in between C4 and C5. So the D that's in between C4 and C5 is here for the bass clef and here for treble clef. So this is out already. So straight away we know that the last one is the option, is the correct option. Okay. Then you can look at it as, you can just compare the number of steps. Okay. But if you're familiar with notes, you are very good with note readings, right? I think that doing it by the note reading way would be way easier. So this is, let me show you the note reading way. So this is the method I recommend for students who are very good with note reading. And by grade 3, you should be relatively good at note reading. So this one is F, this is D, A, B, C sharp, right? So if you look at this, this is C, A, F. So it's F, D, A, B, C sharp, right? Okay, then you need to know this one, this C is in between, this is a C3C, so this one is a C4C. Okay, then this one is one step lower, this B is just one step below this, another step below this, and this A. Then this one is a D note. Okay, so this D is in between C3 and C4. Make it one octave higher, it should be the D in between C4 and C5, which is here. So the answer is this. Okay, or if you're not familiar with, if you're not very confident with note reading, then check the first note, reference it to your C2, C3, or C4s, or C5, depending on the questions. Check your first note. Once the first note is correct, right, you just count what is the interval between the first note and the next, and the first note and this note, and so on. All right. Okay, next let's take a look at keys and scales. Again, right, for keys and scales, okay, I want you to write out the key signature chart and the key signature chart. And this is what you should write in your rough paper at the start of your exam. Note, after the exam has started, then you can write it. So you'll be allowed to have 2 pieces of blank paper for the exam. So first write it there, and then you can refer to it for the rest of the exams. Okay, don't need to keep finding out what is the key signature or what flats and sharps it has. Okay, so please write this out first before you proceed with this section. Now, coming back to this, select the key signature for F minor. So from your chart, you have known that F minor has B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. So this is the answer. Okay, it has flats. Alright, so next let's move on. Correctly written key signature for A major. A major have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So 3 sharps, right? Okay, so this is out already. All of them shows 3 sharps. So which one should it be? You also need to know what is the correct pattern. And this is the correct pattern. Okay, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So you know it's this V shape, right, for 3 sharps. Okay, so this one is out. But this did not start with F. It started with A sharp, which is wrong. We need F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So this is the answer. Okay, next, select 3 notes in the melody where the accidental is not needed. The key is G minor. So before we do this, right, let's take a look at G minor. So G minor, what does it have for the key signature? It has B flat and E flat, right? Then the 7th note for G minor is F sharp. So I need B flat, E flat, and F sharp. Okay, this is for harmonic. If I have melodic, I can have B flat, E flat, okay, F sharp, and I also can have E natural. So I can have either E flat or E natural, because for melodic, you need to sharpen the 6th note. The 6th note is E, so the E flat will become E. Sharpen a flat, it becomes natural. Okay, then when it is descending, you do not have any, you do not do anything to your 6th or 7th note. You just follow the key signature, which is just play B flat and E flat as they are. Okay, so for G minor, they did not specify whether it's harmonic or melodic, so these are the possibilities. So let's take a look at this. So I have B flat and E flat. Yes, this is correct. Okay, so because I have this key signature already, it means that if I need B flat, do I need to write the flat? No. This B will be a flat automatically because the key signature has a B flat. That means all the B, doesn't matter which pitch it is, will be a flat. So this will also be played as a flat. You do not need to write the flat in. So this is not needed. 1 is not needed. Next, A, G, F sharp. This is F sharp. Can I have F sharp? Yes, I can have F sharp because I can sharpen the 7th note. So this is okay. Then can I have F natural for this? Okay, so yes, I also can have F natural because remember for melodic, when ascending, the 6th and 7th note will be E natural and F sharp. When it's descending, I just follow what is in the key signature, right? I'll play E flat and F, right? So in other words, right, I can have F natural, F without the sharp because I'm playing melodic, okay, or natural minor. Now let's move on to 4, B flat again. So same thing as this, because I already have a key signature, I do not need to write the flat, okay? So 4 is wrong. I do not need to write this flat. It will be automatically played as B flat because of this key signature. Next, I have this E. This is E natural. So yes, I can have E natural for melodic, right? So this is okay. F sharp is also okay. Again, B flat is not okay because of the key signature. So this is the answer. Alright, let's move on to the next question. So for this, you're asked to select the correct key of the melody. So let's start off by looking at what are the accidentals here. So this note here is A flat, E, this one is A, E flat, this is D flat, this is E flat again, D flat and B flat. So if we arrange, it's B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, right? So if we have this, it is either A flat major or F minor, right? So if there's F minor, the 7th note is E, okay? And because we have an E flat in the key signature, so the 7th note is E natural. So let's take a look. Are there any notes E that have a natural? In fact, I saw one, no, this E flat here, because of this flat here, this E is also a flat. So all the E have flats in this melody. So it is very likely that it is not F minor, but instead A flat major. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Here, let's take a look at what are the flats we have. Okay, so to select the key, we first look at what flat it has. So it has E flat, just E flat, okay? So just E flat, right? But we know that if you have E flat, you definitely have B flat. Okay? But if you take a look at this, hey, the B are all natural. So it is likely that B is the 7th note. So that when we sharpen the 7th note, the B flat becomes B natural. So if the 7th note is B, what is the tonic? It's likely that it's C. So it's likely that this is C minor. So before we go on, let's check what flat does C minor has. Okay, so based on our chart, we know that C minor has B flat, E flat, and A flat. Okay, and the 7th note, when after sharpening it, it becomes B natural. So I only observe E flat. I do not see any A flats, right? Why? So let's take a look at the 6th note. The 6th note of C minor is A. And because there's an A flat here, when you sharpen A flat, it becomes just A natural. So it is likely that this A here is just A, not A flat, because we are looking at a melodic minor. Then similarly for this B, is just B here. Okay, because we need to sharpen the 7th note for harmonic. Okay, then for the melodic, when we are ascending, we sharpen both the 6th and the 7th. So therefore, based on this, we can conclude that this is C minor. Okay, moving on, select the correct key of the melody. So I see a sharp and a flat. So once you see a sharp and a flat, it is very likely the key signature consists of flat, and the 7th note, because of the 7th note for the minor key, we have a sharp. So very likely the 7th note is F. Okay, therefore you can have a sharpened one and a natural, because when you're descending for melodic, you do not sharpen the 7th note. So if F is the 7th note, then it's likely that the tonic is G. So is it G minor? So before you conclude that it's G minor, let's check. What is G minor? What key signature does G minor have? B flat and E flat, right? Okay, so let's take a look. I have B flat and E flat. Correct. 7th note is F. So I can sharpen it. I can also don't sharpen it, depending on what type of minor I'm looking at. Okay, so therefore I conclude that this is G minor. Alright, let's go through this question together. So in this question, you are asked to select two incorrect notes in this scale. It is C sharp harmonic minor ascending. Okay, so let's first start off by looking at the key signature for C sharp minor. So this one, you should have written it in your key signature chart, and you can refer it for the rest of the exam. Okay, so just refer to it. So for C sharp minor, we know that there is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp for the key signature, and next is a harmonic minor, so we need to sharpen the second 7th note both on ascending and descending. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B. B is the 7th note, and we need to have a B sharp. Right? Okay, so with that, okay, let's go through it. So C needs a sharp. Okay, then the second note is D. D needs a sharp, but there isn't. So 2 is wrong. E is correct. E doesn't have a sharp. F has a sharp. G has a sharp. A has no sharp. B has a sharp. And finally, the C also needs a sharp. So 2 and 8 are wrong. So 2 and 8 are wrong. Next, select the omitted pitches marked X and Y to complete the scale of F melodic minor. So this is descending scale, right? It's going downwards. So for a melodic minor, for a descending scale, you just follow the key signature. You don't need to think about the sharpening anything. So F minor, it has B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat for your key signature. So this is F, then you need E flat here, then D flat, C, B flat, A flat, then G, then F. So here X should be E flat, while Y should be just G. So this would be the answer, E flat and G. Next, select the correctly written scale of A major ascending. So A major has what key signature? A major, well, it has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, right? So 3 sharps. Okay, so this is out already because there are 4 sharps. So now let's check, is this F? Yes, this is F. This is G. This is A. No, it doesn't have A sharp. So this is wrong. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. This is correct. So the answer is this one here. Next, select the correctly written scale of B flat major ascending. So B flat major has B flat and E flat in its key signature. Okay, so let's first check that it starts and ends with B flat. So this is B flat, 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 this is B flat. No, this is D flat, this is D flat. This is wrong, so I eliminate this. Okay, because this one is bass clef, this is D. Now that I've eliminated this, the next thing I need to remember is, apart from B flat, it also has E flat. So another one more flat. So yes, it has E flat, but there is no A flat. So the second option is wrong. So the correct answer is the first one. Okay, next, select the correctly written scale of F sharp harmonic minor descending. So let's first start off by writing the key signature of F sharp minor. So F sharp minor has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp in the key signature. Next, the 7th note is E. So because there's no E sharp here, so the 7th note, when we sharpen it, it becomes E sharp. Okay, so let's start off by checking whether it starts and ends with F sharp. So this is F sharp, this is F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, and F sharp. So yes, they all start with F sharp, so there's nothing I can eliminate for now. Next, after F sharp, I have E sharp. So because it is harmonic minor, I need to sharpen the 7th note. So after F sharp, I need E sharp. But there isn't any E sharp here. This is wrong. So the first one is eliminated. This is okay. Both of them are E sharp. Okay. Then D. D doesn't have any sharp. Okay. So this is wrong. This is correct. Okay. So I've eliminated the second option. Then next, after D, you have C sharp, right? Because there's C sharp here. So I've eliminated this. I'm not going to check. This is still okay. Then B, correct. This is B. This is B. Then A. Then this is G sharp. Oh, sorry. I already eliminated the first one here because there is no E sharp. G sharp, then F sharp. Okay, so in other words, the third one is correct. The first one is wrong because the second note needs E sharp, because for harmonic minor you need to sharpen the 7th note, but you already didn't sharpen it, so the first one we can eliminate it. The second one we eliminated it because there's no D sharp, but they wrote D sharp here, so the answer is the third one. Okay, now let's move on to intervals. So next, you need to drag and drop one of the 3 note heads into the marked area to create an interval of -6. Okay, your note should be higher than the given one. So this is F sharp minor. So I have F, G, A. So this is 1, 2, 3. B is 4. C is 5. D is 6, right? So I know it is D. So is it going to be sharp, flat, or no sharp, no flat for D? So this is F, this is D. So F major have B flat, so nothing for D. So F major will have F and D. So now I go up a semitone here to have a major 7th. It should be here. So F sharp to D sharp is major 6. But because I want -6, so F sharp to D sharp is major 6. So I want it to be -6, so it should be just D. So don't need sharp, it is just here. Okay, alternatively, you can use the semitone method that I teach in my course, link down below. So for that method, you need to memorize the number of semitones for the different types of the interval. Okay. Next, let's take a look at this. We want to have a perfect fourth, right? So this is F sharp. So for F sharp, okay, fourth, F, G, A, B. So it should be B, right? So now, let's take a look at F major. If I have F major, I should have B flat to have perfect fourth. Okay, so now if I want to start with F sharp, then I need B in order to be perfect fourth. Okay, so therefore, it should be just B, right? Okay. Next, I want a major second and I start with F sharp, right? So F, G, A, B, C, D, E. So I should have the note E, but is it going to be E sharp or E flat? So let's use F major as a reference. So F major only have B flat, so the E will just be an E. So major 7th will be F to E. But now because I have F sharp, so therefore I will need to be at this note here, which is E sharp, in order to be major 7th. So in other words, in order to get major 7th, I need E sharp because it needs to be here to have the interval of major 7th. Okay, next, okay, I want a minor third. Okay, then the key is F minor. So F, G, A. So I need A, okay, to form a third, right? So now let's go to F major. If I have F major, I have A. Okay, F major only has B flat, so A will just be A, no flat, no sharp. Okay, and this will form the interval for major third. Okay, but if I have F sharp, then I need A sharp. So I go up, I go to the right by one semitone. So I need to go to the right by another semitone to form a major third. So in other words, right, F sharp and A sharp form major third. Okay? So, but do I want major third for this question? No, I want minor third, right? So what do I do? Well, minor third is one semitone closer compared to major third. So instead, I have just A. So the answer for this is A. Okay, so this method that I use is called using the major key as the reference. Okay, next I want to form an interval of major second. So if I want to form a major second, okay, and I start with F sharp. So let's do it. So again, let me draw out the piano. So second means from F, you go to G, right? But now I want major second. So let's start off with F major. If I have F major, I only have B flat in the key signature. So G will just be G. So now, this is the interval for major second. Now, if I go to F sharp, I go up, right, by one semitone. So here we'll also go up by one semitone. So I have F sharp and G sharp for major second. Okay, so therefore I need G sharp. Okay, last one. I want a perfect 8. Perfect 8 basically just copy the same note but one octave higher. This is F sharp. So perfect 8 will be F sharp that is one octave higher. Okay, next, let's take a look. Select the type of interval displayed. So this is B to G, B, C, D, E, F, G. So it's a 6 apart. So if you have 6, you'll definitely not have perfect because perfect is only for have 4, 5th, and 8th. Okay, so it's either major or minor. So let's draw out the piano again. Okay, so you have B and G sharp. Okay, so we haven't learned B major, right? So I will just use B flat major instead. So in B flat major, you have B flat and E flat in the key signature. So G is just G. So if B flat major, so from B flat to G is a major 6 interval, right? Major 6. So now I move higher by move closer by one semitone here, then I move away by one semitone. So the number of semitones between these two notes here marked by the cross is the same as the number of semitones in between these two dots that form the major 6 interval. So therefore, B to G sharp forms the the major 6 interval. Next, C sharp to G sharp. Okay, C, D, E, F, G. So it's a 5th. So once you have a 5th, okay, you cannot have major and minor. It must be perfect. Okay, so the answer is perfect. Now F to E flat, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. So it's a 7th apart. So remember F is counted as 1, then G is 2, then all the way until E you count until 8. So it's a 7th apart. So perfect is out. Perfect is only for 4th, 5th, and 8th. So now let's take a look at F to E flat. So let's first start off with F major. F major only has B flat, right, based on the key signature. So E will be just E. So this interval from F to E will form major 7th. But do we have F to E here? No. Instead, we have F to E flat. okay, which is one semitone closer to this F here. So when you make the interval one semitone closer, it's no longer a major, it's a minor interval. So therefore, it is minor 7th. Next, B flat to E flat, one look at it. B, C, D, E is a 4th. Wherever you have a 4th, you cannot have major or minor, so the answer is perfect. Okay, now let's move on to the next section, which is on tonic triad. So let's take a look at this. This is the tonic triad for E flat major. So let's check, does it start with E? Yes, it is. So the tonic triad for E is E flat, G, and B flat. Remember, because E flat major has B flat, E flat, and A flat. So the E and the B needs a flat. So yes, it has both the E as well as the B flat, and here you have G, so it's E flat, G, B, so it is correct. So yes, it is true. Next, this is the tonic triad of B minor. So B minor has a key signature of F sharp and C sharp. Okay, so your tonic triad should be B, D, F sharp. Okay, so this is F, D, B. So it's B, D, F sharp. So yes, it's correct. So this is the tonic triad of B minor. It's true. Moving on, drag and drop one of these 3 note heads to complete the tonic triad with the tonic as the lowest note. I want E major. So remember, right, for tonic triads, for the exam, they are always stacked on top of each other. So here you have a gap here, right? So definitely we know that we need to stack in between here, which is here. Okay, but before that, we need to determine whether we need to have sharp, flat, or no sharp and no flat, depending on the key. So E major has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, right? And the tonic triad is E, G sharp, B. We need a sharp for G because the key signature has G sharp. So therefore, I need to put a sharp here, okay, to form my G sharp. So this is the answer. Hold on, it's a bit out of alignment. Okay, great. This looks good. Okay, let's take a look at this. Drag and drop one of the note heads to complete the triad with the tonic as the lowest note. I want C minor, right? C minor, it has what key signature? B flat, E flat, and A flat. Okay. So the tonic triad in C minor is C, E flat, and G. This is E flat, this is G, so I'm short of C, so I'll put C here. Okay. Next, drag and drop one of the 3 note heads to complete this triad with the tonic as the lowest note. I want A minor. So A minor, there's no sharp, no flat for the key signature. So the A minor tonic triad is A, C, E. Okay, this is A already. This is C, so I'm short of E. So let me put in E. Next, select the correct key for this tonic triad. So the lowest note here is G, right? So it must be G something already. G, B, D. Okay, so if you have G, so it's either G major or G minor. But G minor, you have B flat. Okay, it's G, B flat, D. Because if you look at your key signature chart, what does G minor has? It has B flat and E flat as in the key signature, so the B flat needs a flat. But G major, you only have F sharp in the key signature, so it's just G, B, D for the tonic triad. So therefore, this answer here should be G major because it's G, B, D. Next, what is the correct key for this tonic triad? So the lowest note here is D, right? The lowest note here is D, then followed by F and A. So because the lowest note is D, so it's either D major or D minor. The rest are up. Next, let's take a look at D minor. Okay, D minor has B flat, right? So therefore, your tonic triad will just be D, F, A. How about D major? It has both F sharp and C sharp. So the tonic triad for D major will be D, F sharp, and A. So this doesn't have F sharp, so it is not D major, it is D minor. Next, let's take a look at this. Okay, what is the correct key for this tonic triad? So this is bass clef, this is E, this is C, this is A, right? So this is A flat. So because the lowest note is A flat and you only have this A flat major, so the answer will be the second option, A flat major. So for this tonic triad, right, because they always put the tonic as the lowest note, so you can just look at the lowest note to tell you what it is. You will know it is the lowest note is the name of the key, but if there are two options, major and minor, then you need to check. But for this case, the lowest note is A flat. Okay, there's no A flat minor here, only A flat major, so the answer is A flat major. Next, let's take a look at this. So again, let's take a look at what is the lowest note here. This lowest note here is D. This is D, F sharp, A. So it must be a key that has something to do with D. It's either D major or D minor. So there's no D minor, so it must be D major. And D major has F sharp and C sharp. So because there's F sharp here, so this is the tonic triad of D major. Okay, same thing. This one is C sharp, E, G sharp. Okay, so C sharp, E, G sharp. The lowest note is C sharp. So definitely your answer must have something to do with C sharp, and there's only one option, C sharp minor, so the answer is C sharp minor. But if you check, the tonic triad of C sharp minor is C sharp, E, and G sharp, so yes, this is the tonic triad of C sharp minor. Next, let's look at terms and signs. So for this section, right, is basically memory work and taking note of what you play. The terms and signs is what you play. All right, so it should be quite easy to score if you have memorized them. So let's take a look at them. So next, this one, alla marcia. It basically means in the style of a march. Okay, prestissimo. Prestissimo means very fast. Sempre means always. Okay, when you have a line above, that means to play it with a slight pressure. Okay, it is less pressure is compared to an accent like this. Okay, but this is with slight pressure, so that's the answer. Okay, next, allargando. Allargando means broadening. Now let's move on to music in context. So in this question, you are asked to look at the melody, then you need to compare the following to the beginning of the melody. Beginning of the melody refers to bar 1, then select the correct statement. So for this one, you are asked whether it is an exact copy or not. So when we are looking at whether it's an exact copy, you need the same tempo, you need the same dynamics, you need the same articulation, you need the same tempo terms here. Alright, so let's check them one by one. Bass clef, okay, both are bass clef, both have the same key signature, B flat, E flat, A flat, B flat, E flat, A flat, 6/8 time, okay? Next, let's take a look. Time signature is the same. Next, let's take a look at the terms allegro crescendo, allegretto crescendo. So based on this is not the exact copy, okay, because allegro means quick, allegretto means quick but not as quick as allegro. So this is slightly slower. So this is not an exact copy. So because of this, A is out. Moving on to B. Okay, again, bass clef and bass clef. Key signature, the same. 6/8 time, 6/8 time. Okay, let's check the terms allegro crescendo, same. Great. Dynamics, only one dynamics here is F loud. Here is also F loud. Great. With that, let's check the notes. Are they the same? Okay, they are the same notes. Once I've checked the same notes, okay, I check the accidentals. Then you notice that this has a B natural, but there isn't. So for this note, I'm going to play B flat. So because of this, it is not an exact copy of this one here. So B is not an exact copy of the beginning of the melody. So now let's move on to C. So for this question, you have to be very, very careful. So usually start from left to right. And remember, you need to check the notes. You need to check the accidentals, the sharp, the flats, the natural. You need to check the dynamics. You need to check the terms. Then finally, you need to check the articulation, the slurs, the staccatos, the accents, and so on. They must be exactly the same. All right? So let's move on to here. Bass clef, the same. Okay, this has a key signature of B flat, E flat, A flat, but this one only has B flat and E flat. Okay, so this one only has B flat and E flat. So does it mean that they are, so what does it mean? Okay, so this one have B flat, E flat, A flat. So this one only have B flat, E flat. It's not an exact copy anymore, right? Okay, if we move on to look at it, same time signature 6/8 time. Next, the term is allegro crescendo, same. The notes, let's check. Same notes, then same articulation, F. But because it does not have the same key signature, C is also not the exact copy. So therefore, the answer is none of them. They are all different from the origin. Okay? So this is the answer. Okay, next let's look at this. The tempo remains the same throughout this melody. Tempo means the speed. So is there any term sign that suggests a change in speed, like accelerando, which means gradually getting quicker, or retard, okay, which means gradually getting slower? No, there isn't. So this is true. Okay, next, select the correct answer. The highest note in the melody is, so whenever we are looking for highest, we always go up, right? So which one is the highest? Up. Okay, so if you notice, this seems like the highest note, right? This E, and because of this key signature, this is E flat. Now let's do a check to make sure that this is the highest note. So this is E flat. Then anything higher than E flat? No. So from here, we can conclude that E flat is the highest note. In fact, you just look at it, right? This note has 2 ledger lines, okay, so on the top. So that is the highest, right? So anything with just 1 ledger line or no ledger lines is within the music staff. You can ignore that. And you notice that the only ones with ledger lines is basically this note, this note, this note, and this note. And none of them are higher than E, and these notes here, and none of them are higher than E flat. So therefore, E flat is the highest note. Okay, let's take a look at this. Select the correct answer. There is a dotted quaver in. So a dotted quaver is like this, right? But it could be beamed together. Okay, so it will be here. So I see a lot of dotted quavers all around. So there's one in bar 1, bar 2, and so on, but they are not part of the options. So let's check by looking at these options that are given. So bar 3, do you see any dotted quaver? No, there aren't. Okay, in fact, there isn't any dotted notes. Bar 4, nope, there's only a dotted crotchet, so it's not bar 4. Bar 5, yes, there is a dotted quaver, which is here. Bar 7, nope, there isn't any dotted quaver. In fact, there's no dotted note. So the answer is bar 5. Okay, next, there is a note marked to be played with an accent in. So where's the accent sign? Well, this is the accent sign, right? So the accent appears in bar 2. Okay, and we have come to the end of the grade 3 practice paper. So if you are interested in more tips and tricks on how to approach the ABRSM exams for music theory, do check out link below.